Welcome to the DIY Writer Show with the mild-mannered, slightly heroic host, Jeff Bacon.
That's Jeff Bacon with the DIY Writer Podcast, and today I've got Rebekah Jonesy. And if you don't know who Rebekah Jonesy is, maybe you should figure it out. She writes urban fantasy, and she also writes erotica, which is an interesting combination. So we're going to get into this really quick. So Rebekah, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Not too bad. So what do you want to start off with? The dirty stuff or the urban fantasy, or
I started dirty when I started writing, so let's start with the dirt.
Let's start with the dirt. All right.
So yeah, I've got several eroticas, just straight up eroticas. Like I said, it started there. I wrote a couple dozen of those. Started really making a name for myself, and then I started writing romances, and then I wrote some romantic suspenses.
Okay.
And then one day I was just chatting with a friend during a show, and I was trying to convince her to write this cool new series. Well, a series about this cool new idea that she and I kind of came up with. And she was like, I don't have time to do that. I was like, oh, but who's going to write it? And she said, well, I guess you are. So now I guess I am. And here we are. And I'm now finishing up book 6. And it's great.
Oh, what
and
series
oddly,
is that?
Has no erotica in it at all. It is the Mab's Doll series.
Ah. Cool.
It is a fun compilation of all of the world's legends, urban legends, cryptids, stories, myths, and ghosts, haunts, and haunts. All of them are mixed in, and they're all in America because America's a melting pot. So why not?
Maybe we should dive into that real quick. What's that? So it's a bunch of short stories, I assume, then.
It is. They're not short stories. They're all full novels.
Okay. But so I guess I didn't look at it all that much. It is
the other erotica is very eye-catching.
Well, that's what I was staring at, and I'm like, holy cow, I can't wait to get into that. But anyway, Dirty Boy, the Madness or Mab's Doll book 6. What can you say about that?
Mab's Doll book 6. Like I said, that's coming out this summer, and that is after a huge change has happened for Jillian, who is Mab's daughter. To start it off, Jillian, the main character, is actually a doll brought to life. She was made out of clay, moss, and blood.
Oh,
and given
cool.
life by the goddess Danu.
So you're like throwing everything together in this one, huh?
I am. The entire thing is about that. Actually, in book 6, I'm also writing about Bastet, the Egyptian goddess of cats.
Mm-hmm.
So she plays a role in this book, and she's not very happy about it either. She's especially not happy when Jillian's human friend decides he's going to catch the goddess with a cardboard box.
Do you find it hard?
If you just put down a cardboard box, a cat will jump in it, right?
Right.
It is a bad plan.
The bad plan. So so you're kind of combining all these different things. Do you find it hard to make it fluid at times, or?
Actually, I don't. I found it super easy because one of the things I have learned about folklore, and that's really what all of these things are, is they flow from one area to the next, and they have a lot in common.
Mm-hmm.
Like the vampires in Ireland are the Babuin Sith. They are blood drinkers. They just don't bite people, as far as anyone can tell. So I've got one of those in there too, and she's pretty funny. Also, she has goat legs.
Oh, goat legs.
Yep.
That sounds Greek,
doesn't it? I've also got sirens in there, but I went old school on the sirens.
Yeah.
So they have fangs, gills and tails
That is old school.
and wings.
Okay. Where'd the wings come from?
The original sirens had wings. They were also male and female.
I knew they were male and female. I didn't realize they had wings. I'd never.
They had wings. They are what the harpy and mermaid legends are based on.
Huh.
See?
Cool.
So it's been real easy to blend everything together because they all they move back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got a cat deity or a cat-faced deity.
Yeah.
Everyone has a werewolf. Everyone has a vampire. Everyone has a monster that comes out in the cold and devours. Everyone has white ladies, which I think is super freaky.
That's because it's all real. It's all true.
Maybe it is. Who can say?
Well, I mean, all that stuff has to be based on something. It can't
it has to be based on something.
Something that they saw, and they try and the fact that it goes from culture to culture to culture makes you think that, okay, maybe this stuff is not necessarily made up. Maybe it's, something they can't explain. Maybe it's something, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that's very interesting. I mean, even in, when you take Christianity into it and you look at the Bible and some of the things that they mention in there, like fawn-like people, it's like, whoa, is that a satyr? What do you mean by fawn-like?
Yep.
Or there's witches and witchcraft and everything if you read in the Old Testament, and it's like, oh, okay.
And ghosts and seances and something like a banshee. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of stuff. Jinns or
Yep.
zephyrs, depending on, how you want to translate that one.
Right. It's interesting on how all that stuff just kind of flows together, and it's like, there's got to be something to it. I mean, they didn't all just base everything on just, it's just fiction. We're just gonna, somebody wrote.
And that's what Jillian says. That's what my main character says.
Yeah.
She's like, she said humans aren't that creative. No, they just made up stories about us and they got everything wrong.
Oh. Well, I'm sure we did.
She's not a fan of humanity.
Are you?
Not especially.
Not especially.
Like, people are fine. A person is fine. People, that's where you gotta watch out.
Yeah. People do stupid things together.
Yep.
It is. It's always very interesting, especially when you watch the events of the last week, and it's like, oh God. Okay. Yeah, and everybody blaming everybody and everything else. But I take stuff like that and I look at it and say, okay, well, what a god or a deity or a celestial actually say about that? Is it funny? Is it, oh my God, look at that. Huh. These guys are idiots,
Or they're up there going, oh my God. They're like, oh my me, what are these people doing?
I've got a short story that I haven't published where it's exactly that same thing where except for they're looking down. God, do we have to go back down there? I mean, oh geez, how in the? It's only been a couple of centuries. Come on. We needed a vacation. Now we have to come back and tend to you goats, you sheep, you bunch of idiots, And it's just, it's like they're watching.
Bastet only came back in my book. Bastet only came back because of the internet. People were worshiping cats again, so she liked that.
Oh, that's clever. So they're all watching cat videos, and all of a sudden it becomes worship.
Yeah, good enough. I mean,
why not?
She's a cat.
Why not?
Why not?
I like the fact that a lot of these. When we talk about these deities, when we talk about these entities or whatever, and especially in fiction, it all has to do with, their powers and whether or not they're here or not really depends on whether or not people are actually doing anything. It's like they can manifest them in some way, fashion, or form. And I think that's in a lot of fiction nowadays.
Well, there's been a lot of scientific breakthroughs that say that could in fact be possible.
Sure. You're talking about quantum.
Yeah, but there is a portion of your brain when you're worshiping, when you're praying, when you're singing your gospel, when you're doing a religious act, a new part of your brain, a specific part of your brain
Sacrificing a
activates.
chicken. Yeah.
Whatever your religion is, yeah. When you're doing your religion, when you're being religious or spiritual, however you want to say it, whichever one is yours, follows your beliefs, that part of the brain activates, and it produces hormones and chemicals, and why not on a quantum level, that brings other things into existence. We also know for a fact that the act of observation, like literally putting your eyes on something, changes it.
Sure.
So when you're actually looking at something and seeing it, it changes it. So yeah, you activate the part of your brain that allows you to see, then you see it, and the act of seeing it creates it.
Yep. I think
it
the
more real.
The greatest proof of that is a 3-year-old. Just kidding. Yeah, I know. Oh, a Taz cup.
A lot of things. Yes, I have a Tasmanian Devil cup.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, I noticed that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's bigger.
Screw you. This is a gallon of coffee. Yeah, anyway.
This one's only 33 ounces.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that one is. I use it every now and then, but it does a really good job of cooling off coffee to ice cold.
Yeah. I'm going to bust up my big one. My other big one.
Your other big one. Okay. We're talking about Kops, right? Oh, snap. Cool.
That's my 40 ounce. And I've got a 50 ounce. Oh, it's beautiful too. Got it from the Ren Fair of all places. Amazing. Really? So it has a cork lid. So it's got a cover. Yes.
Cork.
It's awesome.
If anybody is watching this and thinking, "Oh God, authors are kind of dorky," yeah, we are. We love our coffee cups. We're really dorky and nerdy.
We like our coffee cups. We like our stories, our mythology, our fiction, and our research.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, doing research for the erotica was a lot more fun. But doing research for Mabstall, doesn't tire out my wrists and fingers.
So when you're doing research for erotica, is that just Pornhub or what's that entail?
No, Pornhub is actually really bad for it. Mostly I based it off of real life stuff. Porn is just for the angles. Right. Yeah. So you don't want to base anything off of that. But they all have stories. It's erotic romance technically, because there is a story, there is a plot, there are character arcs, and there are actually, believe it or not, morals. My characters have morals.
What?
Yep.
All right. They have morals. That's really weird.
Yep.
They have some sort of, realistically, if you had zero morals, how do you really build any tension? Or how does it become a mistake? Or how does it become, it's a guilty.
There's a lot of bully romance, which I detest.
Have you ever read The Haunted Vagina?
I know it is actually in my Kindle Unlimited right now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I just heard about it like 2-3 weeks ago. I've just been super busy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it is right there ready.
I'm doing a really good job of advertising it because I think it's just the funniest damn thing ever. But goes
into a haunted vagina and then finds a person in there he ends up having sex with as well, and they have a magical mystery adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how could you say no to that?
Yeah, I mean, it had me hooked right at the book blurb. It just, right away, You know, when something climbs
Lie,
out
it
of
was
her
the
vagina
title
and he
for
goes,
me.
I'm going in there to discover what's going on, and he climbs in the vagina. It's like, okay, a magical portal between her legs. I just, you know, that pushes the boundaries of me being able to say no, because it's just like, okay, yeah, it sounds really dumb, but on the other hand, it's like, really?
But it could be the fun kind of dumb.
Maybe. Or it
Could
could be
be. I
the
haven't read it
dumb with
yet.
regret.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, no, I you know, I hate to make fun of things, but I think that particular publication, I think that particular book, I think it was made to be made fun of. You know, it's just it's so damn funny. It's not even. I mean, how can you not? You know, I mean,
I mean, there's plenty like that though, and they're fun reads. You know,
yeah,
that's what makes books like those sell. A buddy of mine is actually trying to talk me into doing a series like that too. He wants me to blend my urban fantasy and the erotica, because there's no erotica in my urban fantasy series. There's no well, I mean, technically there's sex, but like it's off screen.
yeah. So I mean, you know, what's the difference between erotica and romance? And I mean,
Romance has an actual plot. And romance has to have a happily ever after or a happily for now ending.
Okay.
Erotica just stops.
Okay.
Also, in a romance, if you remove the sex and you still have a story, then it's a romance.
Okay.
You know, if you remove sex from a erotica, you don't have anything.
You just have a really odd scene in a coffee shop, huh?
Basically. Why is this woman standing in the hotel lobby acting so weird? The end.
Wow. Well, it'd be easy to edit.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so you know, the one thing that you know, romance is a heavy selling genre, and so is erotica.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it seems like there are a lot of similar stories out there, but I don't. It also seems like there's nothing you can do in that genre that will run it into the ground. It just seems like there's a lot of romance out there that just gets picked up.
Mistitling, putting your book in the wrong genre will shoot you in the foot. It will destroy your name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In romance?
People who read romance are rabid about it.
Yeah, but I do think it's funny that romance sneaks its way into everything else.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
romance is a fact of life too. You know, it's a part of life.
I get it's a fact of life, but when you look in your genres and you do a search and you look at the, you know, top 100, it's like, oh, that looks like erotica. How'd that slip in here? You know,
oh yeah, that. Yeah.
You know,
yeah, the erotica stuff is everywhere.
Yeah, Christian fantasy.
Everywhere.
Whoa, hey. Kind of a Christian fantasy is that? It looks like, well,
Mary, what are you doing to that cross? Yes. I have seen some things.
I've seen some things. Yeah.
And that's why you don't do erotica research online. It's like yeah.
So explain to me exactly, how do you do your research for erotica then?
Well, I mean, I'm friggin' 40 years old now. I've had a, you know, nicely active sex life. I talk to people. People really like telling me stories about their sex life too.
Okay.
Like, really, like strangers will tell me about their sex life. I'm not really sure why. I don't go out much anymore.
So you're sitting in a coffee shop, somebody sits down and says, hey, you know what? I got screwed last night. Let me tell you about it. Hello?
Okay, that has actually happened.
Oh, no kidding. You still there?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, I'm here.
So that is actually
Did it go
happened.
weird for a moment?
What's that?
Yep. Yeah, I was and the funny thing is, I didn't think I knew the person, and then we talked for a few more minutes and he was like, "You don't remember me, do you? We went to high school together." And I was like,
Okay.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, you went to this school, right? And I was like, no, I didn't.
So this
So it
guy
turns
sits.
out he actually went to school with my best friend.
Okay.
And because I was there so often picking her up after school, he thought I went there. And we did kind of know each other, but not close enough for, total random stranger dude to sit down and tell me about how he got fucked last night.
Wow. Okay. Did he have any idea what kind of books you read, or I mean,
Or
do you
why
know?
his taint was so itchy.
Seriously, you just sat down and said, "Hey, how you doing? Guess what happened?"
Yep. Yep. Like,
Huh?
I lead an interesting life.
Yeah.
And well, I'm so used to it. I'm just like, okay, yeah, okay, go on. Yeah. And then what? Well, of
Oh,
course you're gonna get grass cut. Like, what did you expect?
that's hilarious. So, how many times has something like that happened to you, or is it just kind
Yeah.
of a once in a while thing? And maybe you
In
bring
a
it on
coffee
yourself.
shop only once. It's happened at a Walmart before.
A Walmart? Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Burger King kids play place thing. I don't know what they're called.
Okay.
That was actually a friend of one of the shift managers, so that was interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
And these are guys and
Yeah, I mean
men and women.
it happens. Men and women, yeah. Yeah. I had a coworker come up to me. She knew it was my second to last day, and she walked up to me, and like, we've never gotten along before in our entire lives. And she was like, "Hey, I need to run to this store. You want to go with me? I'm getting something for where we work." And I was like, "Okay, fine." I'm thinking, she needs help carrying something back. And so we walked down, and she's like, "Okay, I got to tell you this." And she starts just dishing about this affair she's been having for the last 6 months with like graphic details. And I'm like,
Okay.
why? And so once she was done, I was like, why are you telling me all of this? And she was like, I figure you're not going to be here long. So I had to get it off my chest. And you seem like someone who would understand.
Huh.
I was like, I don't understand. Why are you having an affair with a married man? That's a horrible thing to do.
Wow. That
And she's
is
like, oh, yeah, I guess so.
so. I'm just kind of so you take all of these stories that are sound like they're kind of forced upon you, and or not really forced, but I mean, just things that people spew, and I assume that
Yeah.
you write them down in a notebook and say, "Oh, I'm going to use that."
I don't think I've ever written them down in a notebook. They're just in the back of my head. Like, and also like, you gain knowledge from it. Also, I used to listen to the what is it, the sex talk show on AM radio.
Is that Delilah? No.
No, it's before Delilah, after Judy.
After Judy.
God, she was hilarious though.
I
I think the name of the show was actually Sex Talk.
okay. Judy, Dr. Yeah, she was interesting. I always, they did spoofs on her on Saturday Night Live and all sorts of stuff. And then, so, I mean, as a kid, you just like, okay, let's listen to her. Or, yeah, it's like, okay. Very interesting.
And then by the time you're 30, you're all of a sudden becoming an erotica author because it started there, and then people started telling you about their sex lives in great detail, and now you're here. And that's how you get an erotica author.
That's how you get into erotica, huh?
As far as I can tell.
That's fine.
Slid in feet first.
Feet first, huh? That's not the way you do it. I've read a book. No, just kidding.
Well, then I climbed back out and dove in. So I mean, it's
Oh,
all
there
good.
you go.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you get it both ways.
Get it both ways. Yeah. Front, back, in and out, forwards, backwards. Got it.
Up, down, side to side,
There you go.
around the world.
The Kama Sutra, whatever.
Kama Sutra is another good book. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, but when they have a warning in there saying don't do this unless you're at this age and have done these things, and you can do this and that and the other, or you might die, listen to them. It's real. Okay.
You know, I like David Carradine.
It's worth it though.
Okay. David Carradine, when he hung himself, you know, by accident, when he in his closet, and I think it's Thailand or something like that. It's like, you know, what were you? Was the thrill that great that you had to just do it one more time, or you know? I mean, for
most of them, yeah.
Yeah.
It's addictive. That kind of rush is addictive.
Yeah. But then, you know, also when you end up hanging in a closet, it's not exactly cool.
Yep. I actually just a friend of a friend just died that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, as soon as they told me that person had died, I was like, I bet I know how.
Yeah.
Yep. It's real sad. And it like I said, it's addictive.
Yeah. That's where I go. Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. There are safe ways of doing it. Please always practice the safe ways. That's also something that I put in all of my books. I'm like, this is the unsafe way. You know, I make it part of the story.
Yeah.
But in my first series, Mandy, I have a older, more experienced person who she's friends with, notice some of her marks and chastises her gently. You know, if you do it this way, then these are the issues you might have. So don't do it that way. Do it this other way. And she's like, oh, wow. Yeah, he totally called it on that one. Yeah, we should have been a lot safer. So, yeah.
I'm afraid to ask where you got the research for that.
Just that was all personal.
Oh, okay.
That's all personal experience. I mean, there's also some friend stuff thrown in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, never have sex on a giant rock in the middle of a river. Okay, do it, but do realize you are going to lose some flesh. What you shouldn't do is have sex on a shingled pitched roof. That's not worth it.
Okay. You get a little bit of a shingle burn on your ass, do you?
Oh, everywhere. I had it on the back of my head because you're trying to hold on and not slide. So I had it on my elbows, my arms, my back, my shoulder blades were gone, right at the bone. I had a bloody patch on my skull, because I arched my head back and
roll.
Yeah, it was bad stuff.
Okay. So in the show notes, we're going to have don't have sex on asphalt shingles. Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Any other good tips you have for all of our listeners?
Don't have sex on the sand unless you've got a very big blanket, because sand fleas are a serious thing and they will jump in your vagina.
Oh, sand fleas.
I have thankfully never had them in my vagina, but that is what they do because they're going for the wet.
Oh boy. Sand fleas. Yeah.
Yep.
Very interesting. All right. No shingle roast, no sands unless you have a big blanket. So no sultry beach scenes, huh?
Yeah, totally do it at the beach, but do it standing up.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yep.
Got it.
There are definitely ways of doing these things.
Not on rocks, not on the sand. Do it standing up. Got it. All right. We're writing a manual here. What's the weirdest? I mean, what's the weirdest damn thing you ever wrote and you just kind of looked at and went, okay, and put it in there anyway?
I wrote a very dark book. It could technically be called dubious consent.
Okay.
A woman is trying to she loses her job and she's doing sexual favors for her landlord so she doesn't get kicked out. except he has a very specific kink that she has to get trained into. So she has to go through anal training.
Oh, okay. There's training for that, huh?
Yeah, when you've got a gargantuan dick. And she's never done anything before.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, she has to go through anal training in order to get it to fit.
Oh boy.
So he has her walking around, crawling around on her hands and knees with a dildo, dongling out of her butt.
At least it wasn't haunted.
At least it wasn't haunted. There is that.
That would
I
just
have
make it weird.
not done anything like that yet, but there is this awesome Hawaiian myth about a flying vagina.
A flying vagina.
Yes, it's actually a super sad story. One of the goddesses gets raped so often by one of the gods and gets berated for not giving in to him that she pulls her vagina off and throws it off so that it will just stay away from her so she can't get raped anymore.
Oh, geez.
So in Hawaii, there's a vagina that flies around to avoid getting raped.
Did it work?
It worked. It worked. Yeah. And she got punished for doing so because, that makes sense somehow.
Well, I mean, I suppose if the gods are all expecting her to comply and she doesn't, and then she fixes it so she doesn't have to, I suppose there's some sort of
But it's like, the god who wants to fuck you is now being an asshole. Can't you just fuck him?
Isn't asshole a job, a prerequisite for being a god?
Usually there's usually only like one or two in most mythologies. Most of them are just, like people-ish, they've got personalities, they have flaws. There are some days where they're complete jerks, other days where they're not. Like Loki's not actually an asshole, just, despite how he's usually shown.
I think that the actual Norse mythology that in the stories dealing with Loki are some of the most interesting things in the world, just because he is a pain in the ass. There's no doubt about it. But it seems like, ixnay the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And just go straight back to Norse mythology. He's a very useful pain in the ass. Every time he gets himself into a predicament, the gods get something out of it. So I mean, he is
a prankster. He does mischief. He is very good at it, and it is always with a purpose.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing about Loki, is everything is always with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is. I mean, Loki is about the perversity of the universe. I mean, that's really what he's the epitome of.
Right. And so, it's those stories that interest me, because where did they come from? I mean, to have that kind of a view, on where Loki, is, I mean, he's depicted as evil, in modern. Yeah. I mean, he's always he's the bad guy
in modern times he is, because, in modern times, we view death as a bad thing. We view hell, which is, his daughter, as a bad thing. But hell was just where the dead people were. Like, it wasn't this Christian-based mythology of, this is where the bad people go to be punished. Hell was just the land of the dead.
Right.
So, and it was named after his daughter.
It is. I think it's interesting how hell came about, the history of hell, and how just the concept of the ever burning fire, and having your soul roasted for all eternity and everything else. When that came about, how that influenced how everything else is written by. It's almost like all of the rest of mythology, as it was rewritten over the ages, had a Christian influence in it, which is
well, I mean, the origin of hell. I mean, hell itself was not Christian in the beginning.
No.
It was actually taken from a different belief structure that I forget right now.
Well, you have your paganism, you have your Roman gods, which are basically ripoffs of the Greek religions. You've got some Egyptian shit thrown in there. I mean, Christianity is kind of a mishmash of a bunch of stuff when Constantine created it.
Yeah.
And then you have the
I mean,
Jewish religion.
a lot of them are, though. I mean, Hinduism is a great mishmash. Like, you can literally see where they added one new tribe after the other, and that's when they got new gods and goddesses. And oh no, this god is totally married to that goddess who before now have never even met each other, and they have this guy as a son. And they cut his head off and put an elephant head on it instead because she was sad. So now he's a god too.
Yeah. I think, do you remember Conan the Barbarian?
Yeah.
Where they're sitting around the campfire and they're talking about their god. My god is the god of iron. He stands on top of a mountain. And the other guy says, well, my god is the sky above your god. Oh, and it's like, oh shit. You kind of wonder if some of that stuff just wasn't developed like that around a campfire.
Just like that. Yeah.
Some egos were like, oh yeah, well, my god, shoots lightning rods out of his ass, or something like that. But but the one thing that I think is really interesting is just about every religion that let's say non-Christian religions has some sort of a sex god or not necessarily a sex god, but a god fertility, something like that. And I've always been kind of surprised that within I think the Christian religion, if you go back into enough texts where they actually assign angels to that type of stuff, where this angel is actually the one that does revenge, and this one's actually the one that can bless you with a child, and so on and so forth.
I'm totally not going to try and pronounce any of their names.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't either. But I find those influences all very interesting in how interrelated they are. There's got to be something very common going way back that drives all of these different stories, and it's almost like in kindergarten when you played the telephone game, you had a sentence and then you shoot it down the line, everybody reiterates it, and then at the end of the line the entire sentence is just mishmashed and it's not even close to what you thought it was in the first place. I think that's where a lot of religions kind of developed.
Well, I mean, there's that, but there's also you have to realize that, like, the people of North America before the whites basically found America, before we came here, before the Vikings even came here, before the Caucasians and the Anglos and the Saxons ever made it here. Right. They already had these type of deities. They called them nature deities, nature spirits, but most of them did along the same thing. There was a sun god, there was a god of the wind, there was a goddess of the water, there were spirits of the trees, and you would pray to them for different blessings.
What I think is very interesting, have you read any of the research they've done on how they've taken DNA from burial sites and they can actually attribute some of those people to being of Jewish descent?
No, I did not hear about that one.
Yeah,
I knew they were tracking the genetics.
Yeah, so they'll go into these burial grounds and they'll get permission to dig here, and if they find a bone, then they have to get permission to actually do DNA tests. And some sort of and where they can actually scrape up DNA, they've found that a lot of these native tribes to North America have the same genetic markers as some of the ancient Jewish people do. And so then there's this of course there's conspiracy theories, or there are theories on it, and well, this is the lost tribe of Abraham, and blah 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 blah. Yeah, I know, but it's kind of interesting.
There were 12 of them. None of them really got lost. I mean, they're all named. They're still there.
Well,
Like most,
when they
most
dispersed,
practicing
evidently
Jews can
they
find
lost track of
themselves.
somebody or something like that. Whatever it is. But
Indiana Jones says so, at least.
well, he might have. Who knows? But I think it's interesting, when they talk about, how they got here in the first place and so on and so forth. And everybody kind of descended upon, their different lands as they traveled for food or, however they got here, across the Bering Strait or whatever. But that there is some Jewish DNA in the American Indian lineage. And
I mean, it makes sense. We all come from Pangea. Well, I don't remember where humans are in the timeline of Pangea. Basically, we all come from Africa.
Yeah. Or somewhere thereabouts. I mean,
yeah. Africa, the primal, the original Africa kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all that stuff is very interesting to a point, and then we just start all guessing as to what it is, and then you put the religious implications in there, and it's like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We've got a lot of facts. We just don't have enough facts to put everything together. So if we want to make them connect, we have to make guesses, which is just what Jillian accused of us of in the first place.
You guys don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're right.
Yeah, that's why writing it is so fun.
Yeah, I think I was reading the other day where they found a giant turtle in the Amazon, a fossilized giant.
Oh.
No, it was fossilized. It was the size of a large car, and it's like, it's just stuff like that interests me. It's like, yeah, we don't really know what the hell happened, or even what's still on this planet.
Yeah. Now, I don't remember if this was. They found sections of turtle shell in the ocean, and they saw them. They thought it was like a big turtle, and then they realized it was one plate of a turtle's shell, and they're like, if we extrapolate out from what we know of loggerhead turtles now, then this turtle would have been larger than the megalodon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The megalodon is a gargantuanly huge, scary thing. That thing is mind-shatteringly large, and there was something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's obviously just the shedding of the shell of the turtle that the elephants are standing on that's carrying the world. I mean, that's the size we're talking about at this point.
Yeah, right. The 4 pillars and the flat earth stuff.
Yep.
I posted a meme the other day on Facebook that had somebody that was going to commit suicide. He's just, I'm done with this place. He jumps off flat earth and he lands on
flat Mars.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm like, bingo, there you go.
I saw that this morning and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I love the flat earthers. I really enjoy following them.
Well, we know the other planets aren't flat because we can observe them. We've seen that they're round.
Okay.
We've walked around this one though. I mean,
yeah, and I think it's all, I don't want to necessarily make too much fun of them, but I really love when they get themselves into a little bit of a, yeah, what you do? Yeah.
I want to make fun of them. Yeah.
All right, let's go. Ready, set, go. I love it when they get themselves into a pinch and then they try and explain it very scientifically. And it's like, I don't know that you can scientifically explain flat earth.
That's not how science works.
Well, sometimes.
Not just you saying that something's a fact and then ignoring all the other facts to make your theory correct.
Excuse me, I'm a certified Facebook scientist.
How did you pay for that certification?
It was $5. $339 to actually get the class, which was 45 minutes, and then $5 a year ongoing subscription. And I am a certified Facebook scientist. It's a dignified. You can call me doctor.
Okay, Dr. Bacon.
Yeah, Dr. Bacon. That sounds good, doesn't it?
That sounds good.
So when I take a picture of the earth, it's flat. When I'm standing on a flat area and I take a picture across the flat area, it's flat. Okay.
Except you can literally go down to any ocean, take a picture, and observe the curve.
Well, that's because of fisheye lenses. Come on, keep it going. Keep it going. Come on, Jonesy. Let's see you do this one.
Yeah. You can also see it with your eyeball. And so unless you're a fish, I don't think you have a fish eye.
Well, optical illusions. Optical illusions. It's like a mirage in the desert. Yeah, you're only thinking it's round.
Yeah.
You were prepared for this, were you? Yeah.
The dumb, it hurts me. You were too good at this.
It hurts. It hurts. Stop it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. I've so wanted to write a book about flat Earth. And I just can't bring myself to do it. I think it'd be fun, just do like an urban fantasy or something like that, and all of a sudden people start dropping off the edge, overpopulation, people are pushing each other over the edge or some stupid thing like. It just would be fun.
I published that story.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh shit.
It is a short story and a flutter of darkness. Embrace your darkness.
Okay.
It is awesome. It is so good. It is about two people who actually hike to the edge. One guy dies on the way.
Okay.
He's like a day out from it too. They're so upset. But he's radioing back, he's recording everything, and then of course he wants to look over the edge. So he does and slips off.
Oh boy. So
and lands somewhere.
Oh, that was gonna be my next question.
It's not flat Mars.
It's not flat Mars. Shoot.
But it is awesome. It is awesome. It is such a story. Definitely go get A Flutter of Darkness by Jason Lavelle.
Huh. I just need to read
that book will mind fuck you every which way. There are so many different ways he screws with your head in that book.
Really?
Yeah. It's 13 stories. And they're short stories, but they're pretty long for short stories.
The one thing that I think is very interesting, I love conspiracy theories, and I love, that type of stuff's part of my research, just because I find them very creative. So when we talk about flat earthers, and all the lengths that they go to prove their theory of a flat earth, or the fact, however you want to say it, or even conspiracy theories about the New World Order, blah 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 blah. I love that stuff because you can really get a good idea. You can get a lot of good ideas from for fiction. And I think that
never thought about it that way. You're right.
So I hate to ever really discount things like that, because it, like when you talk about flat earth, this guy wrote an awesome book based on that. And it's like, okay, it's not a nonfiction. Oh, look, the earth is flat. It's something, it creates an imaginary world that you can totally develop. My
now I want to go to my author and be like, hey, you need to flesh this out into a full-length novel.
You could. You really could. I
do that to him so often, that poor guy.
Stuff like that just it really interests me. And if you can take those ideas and just run with them, it doesn't give them validation, but it certainly does give you ideas for new stories. And it resonates with people, because the people that are like, so against and just hate the flat earthers, You know, they love it because you're kind of poking fun at them. And the flat
Yeah.
earthers look at it like, well, this isn't really fiction. This is real. You know, if you can come up with something, if you can write good enough to come up with something that's plausible, they will grab onto it.
I want to like turn some of my authors loose
Why
on
not?
conspiracy theorists now. That would be so much fun. I'll be like, okay, whoever can spin up the most conspiracy theorists and get them to do this, to do whatever action it is, you guys win a prize.
Something.
Yep.
I
We'll
just
send you a TFP t-shirt. Your choice. Here we go.
we should probably talk about that a little bit. Three Fieries
TFP,
Press.
Three Fieries Press. Yep.
Yeah. So we talked about
Sister
sex, talked about the gods, talked about conspiracy theories. Yeah, I think the next thing, natural progression of this would be your publishing company.
Publishing house. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, so I used to work for OWS. It was another publishing house. I was a author there and got talking with management and had some ideas for the company. And then one day out of the blue, I was being voted onto the board. That was interesting.
Okay.
But I learned a lot from that company. I learned because like that was my first foray into, well, coming out of erotica. That's when I started writing Mab's Doll.
Okay.
So I wanted a publishing house to help me with that, because you can't. My editor wasn't really up to urban fantasy edits.
Oh, okay.
Let's
So
just say,
you're trying to use the same editor that you used for your erotica for urban fantasy?
I knew it wasn't going to work at all when they're like, "Who's Mab?" I was like, "Okay," and we're like, we're done. No, don't worry. I'm still gonna keep using you for the same thing I've been using you for. Don't worry, I will use you and you will like it. But yeah, I learned a lot there, and then OWS closed its doors. The owner was just done.
Okay.
So didn't have a lot of choice, and I was like, screw it. I've been indie the majority of my publishing career. I will go back to being an indie author. I'm self-published. I'm cool with that. I know how to do it. I've got all the ins and outs. I learned a lot more working for the company. And then two of the other women from there approached me, and they were like, "Hey, so what do you think about starting one of our own?" I was like, "No." Nope. Ain't doing it. It's a lot of work. It's not a lot of respect. That's for sure. But then several of the other staff people who worked at OWS, they were like, "So you're gonna go ahead and open a new publishing house, right? And we'll come join you." What are you supposed to do when like literally an entire company's worth of people is like, "Hey, you want to do this thing?"
Well, you have to worry about hiring the right people then.
Exactly. Like it was kind of pre-made, and then they really got me, and they were like, "So here's the deal. We'll allow you to be in charge of submissions and read all of the books that come in." And I was like, "I'm sold." Like they know my weakness. It's books. Like I'm a bookaholic. I read nonstop. And if I'm the person in charge of submissions, I literally have like a new submission sent to me basically one a week. I get probably over 80 a year.
Okay.
So I always have something new to read, and it's all different genres, and a lot of it's pretty good. Some of it's excellent, which is what we publish.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I mean, they knew how to get me. It's like, okay, fine. Like I'll help you guys run this company. And we started. And of course, I was like, we have to have a good name before I'm willing to do anything.
Right.
So we kicked it around for a while, and we came up with the Three Fieries.
Mm-hmm.
From mythology.
Right.
So that's who they are there. And I have been informed that I am the one in the middle You can't see it very well, but that is the only one with demon wings. Thanks, ladies. The other two have angel wings.
Oh.
So, yeah.
That's very kind of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when you're publishing and everything else, do you give advice to people that give submissions that you don't publish, or you just kind of tell them no?
A lot of times I will. Like, if someone sends me a submission and I'm not going to publish it for whatever reason, I will tell them the reason. You know, we don't publish nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
We don't publish memoirs. I would really like to publish this, but I know the kind of cover it's going to need, and we do not have an artist on hand who can make the cover you need.
Okay.
You know, I've had to turn people away for that, because I'm not going to publish someone's book if I can't do it justice.
Right.
In order to do it justice, I need the proper book cover, and I'm not going to be disloyal to my artist either, and, you know, farm it out to someone else. You know, I'm loyal to my staff, I'm loyal to my artists, I'm loyal to my authors. So if it does not fit in with my people, I will say there are better places for you to go. I know the artists over at this publishing house, I know the editors over there. You want to go submit over there, tell them I sent you, tell them I approved.
Okay.
You know, I've sent a couple of people on that way, and it was precisely what they needed, and they were picked up and published. They just weren't published with us because we just didn't fit.
Right. And that's something that I think a lot of people, a lot of authors, when they start submitting to publishers, don't understand, is that, you know, you can submit to 129 people, but it's really the match. It's really it's really the timing and the match. You know, you may submit to a publisher that's totally loves your book, but they just can't do it this year. You know, they're already booked up.
And one thing I keep telling authors, and I'll say it here again, because everyone needs to hear this: if you're an author and you're reaching out and you're submitting, if you do not get picked up, you are not being rejected. That publishing company is not matching with your manuscript. That's it. Keep that in mind.
I was talking to a guy who has been, I think he's got 60 years with writing. And he said the amount of rejection letters that he's received, he could wallpaper his house twice, you know, and he's got a ton of books out there, short stories and everything else. He was a professor in a university, you know, very, very great guy, you know, and he's a good writer. It's just that, you know, sometimes you just got to find that match. You just got to find the match. You know?
And even if you match with a publisher for this genre, you might write something later that doesn't match with them.
Right.
So.
Right. I mean, you have a business to run, so therefore you have a box you have to fill. You have a, you know, it's got to match certain criteria in order for you to be able to pick it up. It's got to be marketable for you. It's got to be something that's going to make you money. Period.
Yeah.
You know, they may be a really nice guy, it may be a really great story, but if you can't sell it through your press, then it's not a match. You know,
yeah, I've also straight up, like, I'm not gonna lie, I have rejected books for publication because I didn't think they needed a publishing house to publish with.
Oh, sure.
Like, no, this book is already done. What are you coming to me for? Like, oh, so you just need to know how to do the physical, like, push in the, hit the proper keys, go to the right websites. Here's a list, here's a step-by-step, go do it. You don't need to be given 70% of your royalties to anyone else.
Very cool.
Go publish yourself. Go publish yourself.
So what's your opinion on wide versus being exclusive with Amazon?
Everyone should be wide.
Everybody should be wide.
That is my personal. Everyone should be, but the reality is, if you're writing erotica, if you're writing romance, you probably want to go KU.
Okay.
However, that does not mean that you can't take your individual stories from KU and put them in a paperback to sell elsewhere.
Right.
Sneaky sneak.
Sneak. I personally think that KU is a good spot to start. And
It is a good place to start. It is a good place to build.
Yeah. And then you can actually release it wide at some point in time, get out of it, and have a whole new book that gets to a bunch of other people. And it's an interesting thing.
I'm actually of the opinion, if you're in it for the long haul, you should probably be hopping back and forth periodically. Like, as things change, as your sales change, if you're in KU and your sales start dipping, then go ahead and take it out of KU, go wide for a little bit, because every time you make a change, you can announce the change.
Right.
And you're now a debut novel elsewhere.
Right.
So you have 2 debut novels that 2 debut days, 2 release days, or more depending. Because if you go through draft through digital, each one will release on a slightly different date. So it's like, now we're live on Kobo, yay! Now we're live on Google Books. Now we're live on the libraries. Definitely do that.
I've been looking at Publish Drive. That's kind of an interesting setup. I kind of like the way they're doing things nowadays.
I haven't looked at them.
Yeah, take a look at them. I just
they're on one of my lists over here.
Yeah, they're I not that I have anything against Draft to Digital, but I've been looking at them. It's like they kind of have a cool little system.
Okay, that's who I thought it was. Yeah. We're already set up with Draft to Digital, and Draft to Digital, they're are they called aggregator? Yeah.
Right.
Draft to Digital still has a wider reach. So I'm already set up there. I know precisely how to work everything. So
Oh, sure.
Something bigger and better comes along, I'm always, ready to slide over. I'm still keeping an eye on Bookshop too. I'm probably going to start over there as well.
Oh, really?
For the publishing house. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because we can set up, like, my company has a website, obviously. And we have a store. You can buy all of our books there. And if you buy the books from our store, threefieriepress.com,
I'll make sure I have the links in the show notes.
You will get a author signed ebook. There is a digital autograph in the ebooks for our authors. As far as I know, we are the only publishing company that offers signed ebooks. You can also get it printed with a signature in it and a little note.
Cool.
And you can order those from our website as well.
Very cool. So when you get a paperback, is it actually a handwritten note, or is it?
No, it's printed on a page.
It's printed on a page. Okay.
Yep. We can get them personalized from the printer. They will add an extra page, and they will add a signature and whatever words.
Very cool. So what do you think about audio? What do you do there?
To be perfectly honest, Three Fieries Press does not do audiobooks because the majority of that work falls so heavily on the author's shoulders for pronunciation and everything. We release their audio rights to them.
Okay.
So they are 100% allowed, if they're publishing with us, they're allowed to take the fully edited version of their book that we have helped them create and go get a narrator. We have contacts for them should they wish. But right now, every one of our authors who wants to do an audiobook already has a narrator. So I was actually the only one for a little bit, and then it turns out my best friend started doing it, and that was weird to find out, and she's great. So she does accents too. Like, I had no idea.
Oh, really?
I had no idea. I knew she was a giant fan of audiobooks. So she was actually supposed to be helping me pick a narrator.
Oh.
But on my Facebook group, once a week, I do a live reading, and she asked if she could do the live reading that week. And I was like, sure, why not? I was blown away. Blown away. Like, she starts reading, and I'm like, listen to her. It's like, this is my best girl right here. Like, she knows what she is doing. And like I said, she had the accents down pat. She pronounced everything right. She studied before going live to make sure she had it all right, because there are Gaelic words in it.
Mm-hmm. So does she do that for a profession now, or?
No, actually, she is a mid-level manager at a car accessories company.
Okay.
But when COVID hit, they needed to do a lot of online courses and classes and have recordings done. So she started doing those. She was asked to help out and get those up. Because, of course, last minute, everyone's scrambling.
Right.
It's kind of a small company, even though it's, countrywide. There's not a lot of people there. And she's working from home, but she didn't have great internet access at home. She's kind of in the same situation I am. She's out in the boonies.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of gave her work she could do at home and then bring in, just on a thumb drive, just send it in. So she developed a voice. She actually has musical talent. She's had singing training. So she knows how to work her vocals. I don't know. It's all necromancy to me. I don't know what
necromancy.
it is.
Invoke the spirits of the dead to get the voice.
It's something like that. I'm not sure. I try not to ask too many questions. I don't say anything about the dolls.
Well, there you go.
More the bones in her yard.
Cool. So where do you usually tell people to go for audiobooks?
Fade Away Voices is no. We were doing Fade Away Voices for a while. I literally have to keep a list of this.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
I don't remember off the bat. I think it was Find Away Voices. I think it was still Find Away Voices, because we keep going back and forth, because it's changed so many times in the last year.
Yeah.
And with AudioGate happening, still. I was the wrong one. I'm pretty sure it was Find Away Voices is the one that we recommended, because they allow you better flexibility on choosing.
Mm-hmm.
Both in narrators. Everyone has great narrators, but some of their contracts are some of the contracts that have been out there have been pretty vicious.
Yeah.
You're locked in for 11 years and you don't get a penny until both the company and the narrator have made their money back.
Right. I think the latest I've spoken with a bunch of authors, and I think that pretty much everybody is abandoning Audible.
Oh, they should. They definitely should. I actually just warned one of my authors away from that yesterday. I was like, no. I was like, have you not heard? I was like, go check the Discord group. Here's some links. These links will give you more links. Do your research. I'm not going to tell you can't, but I am going to tell you shouldn't.
Yeah. That was, I don't know. I couldn't believe what they were doing. And then when I started hearing about it, it's like, oh my God. And I had one book left with them, and it's like, I'm getting
honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm not even kind of surprised. I was with Amazon doing my erotica when I first got started. Like, I actually had made a name for myself. I was selling books. Like, I was that close. Like, literally another month away from, if my growth kept up, from having a good living wage.
Mm-hmm.
I was bringing home the next, again, if it followed the trend, my next monthly income should have been $6,000.
Okay.
So I was doing really good. Instead, I got a penny. That's when they had done the KU shift, and some people just got eaten. After that, for a year straight, I made 1 penny every quarter with 1 book sell.
Mm-hmm.
one book read, one page, one basically one of whatever.
Right.
And I've got 30-page books because they're eroticas. But, there's only one read of, 15 million pages, but I only got one read. So I only got paid 1 penny.
Wow.
And that went on for a year. That was my entire account. New books I put in, old books I put in.
Jeez.
Tried to pull them out of KU. I wrote letters. I'm part of the class action suit that is still not gone in front of the Supreme Court. Still not. Because Amazon.
Yeah.
So yeah, destroyed my account. I had to close my account and restart. And after that, I was so beat down. I was so depressed. I was like, I don't even know if I want to be an author anymore.
Yeah.
Like I've done all this hard work, and being an author is expensive. Creating a book is expensive. But I did break even right before everything went to hell. But then everything went to hell, and it was like, none of these books are new releases anymore. Like, you can't start over.
Right.
Like, I can't redo that. And let's face it, when you hit a surge like that, a lot of it is luck.
Oh yeah.
I hit an upslope at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with it. I wasn't even buying ads.
Oh wow.
Like, I got super freaking lucky until I got really, really unlucky. But yeah, just absolutely destroyed my authoring career. Like I said, that lasted for a year. I think I ended up going it was over a year. It might have been almost 2 years before I finally just closed the account completely, waited the 90 days, and then tried put new covers on, tried releasing them, give everything a facelift, start over, and it just never took back off.
Yeah.
A lot of it was simply the fact that I was so hurt at that point. It's like, I don't trust Amazon anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I had pulled from my wide distribution and slowly moved things into KU because it looked so good and so stable.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I keep on looking at, and I'm in KU right now, and it's mainly because I don't have the time to go wide. But that was a plan for 2020. 2020 happened, and it's a plan for 2021. But the way KU is working right now is crazy, as far as I'm concerned. Because I can go through days where, absolutely, I mean, barely any reads. Then all of a sudden, twice as many reads as my highest day. And it's like, okay, something happened in the database. And I have found myself not trusting the data that they give, because I don't know how you can have that many problems in your database, being an IT guy, and have reliable data sitting out there, especially with the mass.
And that's what gets me too. That's why I'm always so leery of KU.
Yeah.
So I'm so leery of Amazon. Amazon's entire mainframe is still built on that same code he came up with in his garage. They've just Frankensteined it together. Like, you can see the different parts of it falling apart if you're watching. It's like, oh, well, they changed this one thing. That means that, this is going to be down for the next 2 days.
Right.
And it's like, just rewrite your code. Like, just pay someone to write the 6 different interconnecting codes that you need and start all over. Like, you're going to have to be down for an entire hour. I realize that is like $100 million out of Jeff Bezos' pocket.
He should be fine.
Because that's how much he makes. Yeah.
He should be fine.
But he makes $1 billion a day.
Yeah.
So he should be fine.
I don't know what Amazon is still the biggest bookstore out there. And they do a lot of they've done a lot of good things for the industry. I mean, they've opened it up so you can be an indie publisher and be fairly successful. But on the other hand, it's getting to the point to where, if you don't advertise, it's really hard to get a book sale. It's
And even
really
if you
hard.
do advertise, it's still pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's, it's kind of rough. And when you cut your advertising, your sales cut significantly.
Because Amazon pits you against other advertisers.
Yep. And it gets really, like I said,
which to me is really dumb, because if they like made them work together instead of against each other, Amazon would get more sales too.
probably,
But that's Amazon's, internal competitive side,
yep.
coming out, and they want their sellers to also be competitive against each other. And it's like, that's not how things work in an artistic community.
Yeah.
Like, you only make things bad that way.
Yep. And I think that's the path they're going down. Every day I seem to lose a little more confidence in Amazon. And it's like, yeah, it's time to switch to, Kobo and Barnes and Noble and get iBooks out there and play with it. And I haven't done it yet, but.
Well, remember, if you get a drafted digital, you can have everything preloaded, ready to go, have a UBL, sell through Amazon. Drafted digital will put your books on Amazon too. You'll have one link for everything.
True.
You'll have the universal book link, and you can just have it sit there until you're ready to hit go. So you can like pre-prep everything and then just wait.
Yep.
Save it as a draft and wait.
Yep.
So the day Amazon goes down, you push the button and just release the hounds.
Release the hounds. Brand new release. Very cool. We're running out over an hour now, which is, typical and really good conversations. Do you have anything else you want to tell your readers, fans, or authors out there? Any closing?
Yeah, if you read it, I probably write it. So go check me out. I said, I've got romance, I've got erotica, I've got suspense, I've got thrillers, I've got urban fantasy that so far has covered 60% of the globe for mythologies. And I am going to cover the rest of it. And Kentucky, don't think I forgot about you. There are going to be haints. I'm a Kentucky girl at heart.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So Kentucky's going to be last on the list. That's going to be the biggest and the best splash, eh?
No, actually, Kentucky is coming out very, very shortly. I think it's going to be in the next book.
Very cool.
Yep, there's going to be haints, except they're not going to be haints. Oh, wait, no, sorry. West Virginia is book 7, because book 7 is about Mothman.
Oh, I love that one.
Yep, we just did the Black-Eyed Children too.
Oh, geez.
So far, I've done. Do you know who Chessie is?
Chessie? No.
Chessie is the Chesapeake Bay version of Nessie.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
His name is Moby.
Moby.
Yeah, that's what he calls himself. So I've done that one. I have touched on
the music artist Moby.
Exactly, Moby Dick, because he thinks it's funny. No, it is not the real one. All of Fae have use names. Really? So that is just what they go by right now. Yeah, Fae very common. That is a common theory for the Fae, because never give a Fae your name, because then they'll have power over you. Right. So the Fae use names. You may not have my name, but you can call me this kind of thing.
Oh.
And so as they grow up, as they change, as they move on, their name will change as they evolve, basically, as they grow up. They're a couple centuries old, some of them.
Yeah.
But things change them. Like I've got one character, her name is Roxy now, but her last use name was Doll of Blood. Because she was very, very angry with humans, and she made her anger known.
Wow. Definitely gonna have to pick those up. Take a look at them.
Yep, it does get kind of dark.
Oh no, not dark.
Yeah, the two ones with madness in the title, they are very dark. It deals with first is a child serial killer.
Okay.
That is a adult who kills children. And the next one is unfortunately human trafficking,
Oh, sure.
which ends up with a feast for the Fae. So they're very happy about that.
Oh.
They are also very well known for not liking slavers,
Mhm.
for not liking those who hurt innocents, and for being very vocal about their hatred of such things.
Very cool. And
Yep.
that is Mab's Doll, the series.
Mhm.
The series. Right now,
Yep.
we're looking at book 6 coming out soon-ish.
Yep. June.
June. Very cool. All
And it's
right.
really easy to follow the series because it's Moss and Clay, Clay and Blood, Blood and Pitch, Pitch and Iron, Iron and Madness, Madness and Shadows. Because each one picks up like within a few hours of the last one. And it's a nonstop commentary of Jillian's adventures through America.
Very cool. Very cool. Rebekah, I want to thank you very much for your time today.
It was great being here. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you know what? I've stalked you on Facebook long enough. I figured it was time you and I talked.
Cool. That I stalk all my peeps on Facebook too.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway,
and not on Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Anyway, thanks again for your time. This is Jeff with the DIY Writer podcast, telling you to keep your chin up and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Please hit the subscribe button. I get a bonus for every subscriber, and I only need 1,506 more to become a full-time paid employee. Help me, please.